second edition of Hallowtober.
Yes.
We
Welcome.
kind of have a bit of a theme with this one that we kind of drop with the last movie.
Well, last time we had like no theme, and it was vampires and
Yeah.
and people tying themselves to a house and
Yeah.
that was weird.
We've kind of delved into more thriller territory for this round.
Horror thrillers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting with The Hitcher.
This one is written by Eric Red.
Mm-hmm.
And it's directed by
Robert Harmon.
and stars
Rutger Hauer.
and
C. Thomas Howell.
yes
And Jennifer Jason Leigh.
yay. So, if you're a kid growing up in the 80s, like me, Gen Xer, you would have seen C. Thomas Howell in such classic films as The Outsiders and E.T. And Soul Man. Anyway, and you would have seen Jennifer Jason Leigh in such films as, well, for me, there's one.
Yeah.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Or Single White Female.
Yeah, but you're a Xennial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. And Rutger Hauer, we know him from...
Blade Runner.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And this is a better film.
This is a much better film.
Ooh.
He is awesome in this movie. They actually remade this movie in the 2010s, gender swapped some of the characters, and Sean Bean played the Hitcher in that remake. It was not as good. They kind of missed the point of the Hitcher.
Well, I mean, it's all... what was his name? Jim. Jim was the protagonist. That's C. Thomas Howell. He's driving a car from was it New York to LA?
Something like that.
Yeah. He's falling asleep. He's drinking coffee, smoking, just trying anything to keep himself awake. And he sees a Hitcher on the side of the road and thinks, "Oh, that'll keep me. It'll keep me company."
Bit of conversation.
Yeah.
Might keep me awake.
Yes, and from the very start, it does not go his way.
No. He learns pretty quickly that this Hitcher is kind of a psycho.
Kind of.
Very much. He's a psycho.
And and he basically tells him to his face that he wants him to stop him, and that's the whole thing. And because he's going to kill him if he doesn't.
Yeah. I got sort of notes of duel in this
very much
movie.
so.
Yeah.
But whereas a human is the truck.
Yeah, exactly.
He's non-stop. He's an unstoppable force.
Yeah. And poor Jennifer Jason Leigh, who plays a waitress in a diner, kind of gets pulled into it halfway through the debacle, and
tries her best to help Jim, even though she knows that she's in danger now.
Yeah.
And you've got a lawman played by Jeffrey DeMunn, who's Frank Darabont's
favourite.
Yeah.
MVP.
MVP, definitely. And he's a cop that's trying to help Jim. And the bad guy, the Hitcher's name is John Ryder, which, it's a nice play on words.
Yeah.
An everyman like John, but Ryder is in, He's I think he's one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah, I think they were kind of leaning into that a little bit, hint-wise. But this movie, I think, stands the test of time. It's not a perfect film, but
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and you can watch it just for Rutger Hauer's performance alone. This is probably the best thing he's ever done.
What about Lady Hawk?
Better than Lady Hawk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I love Lady Hawk. We'll probably review that one day. But, he is a very intense actor. They captured that well on Blade Runner, and they really lean into that intensity in this movie. And it works.
Very well. He's probably the most convincing and scary psycho of a film. I mean, you've got Norman Bates, you've got all these characters like the slashers and all that kind of stuff, but this guy he's terrifying.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is he's one of those intimidating, terrifying characters that gets the point across without doing much. You know, sometimes he's just talking, and you very much believe that he could snap at any moment and do something horrible.
Which he does many times.
Yeah.
Yes. Ah, okay. So
What would you give this movie out of 10?
I give it about 8.
I think I give it a 7.5. It's not a perfect movie.
It does drag near the end.
Yeah, it does drag a little bit. A few pacing issues. The script could be tightened up a little, but other than that, it's a classic.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our second movie.
There's not a theme here.
Yeah, not a theme at all.
Not at all.
No. Second movie is The Vanishing.
Now, this is, George Schluser directed the original.
So this movie was made in 1993 and stars Jeff Bridges, Keith Sutherland, and Sandra Bullock.
And Nancy Travis.
Yes. Interesting casting choices. You often see Keith Sutherland in the role of the antagonist in movies because he's a very intense person, but he's actually the protagonist in this movie, and Jeff Bridges is the antagonist.
His name is Barney.
Yeah. This movie, I liked it when I first saw it back in the day. It's not a terrible movie. It is enjoyable. Again, notes of Duel in here.
It's basically about a guy whose girlfriend goes missing at a truck stop, or petrol station as we call them over here. And he spends 5 years looking for her, and without any success. And he puts out a plea really on television to say, "Look, I don't want to hurt the person that's taken her. I don't want to prosecute them. I don't want to.
Yeah, I just want to know what's happened, and I'll do anything."
Yes.
And this kind of sparks the attention of our bad guy.
Who's Barney, who's Jeff Bridges, who has abducted. Or has he abducted? We'll leave that up to you to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, he actually has a family. He's got a wife and daughter who we meet during the course of the film. And the idea of this movie is great. It's a simple premise, what would happen if, you stopped at a gas station on your way to somewhere and your partner gets out to pay the bill and you never see them again. I think it kind of doesn't work because of the way Jeff Bridges plays this role. He
plays him with an ethnic accent or a European accent.
Yeah, some weird affect, and he comes across as a very, very strange individual. I think he was trying to emulate, your standard serial killer, but standard serial killers over time have
try and blend in.
Yeah, Ted Bundy was a very charismatic person,
and Jeff Bridges is normally but he has no charisma in this film.
No, he plays a very creepy dude to the point where even someone who's not particularly bright would not get anywhere near this guy because he's weird.
He is.
And the fact that he actually has a wife and daughter comes across as weird as well because he doesn't seem like the kind of person that is capable of having those kind of relationships. I think the back and forth between him and his daughter is a little bit
creepy.
Yeah.
It's just creepy. The whole film is creepy.
Yeah. It's like the Jeff Bridges had an idea for this character and the director went, I guess we'll go with that.
Yeah, that'll do.
And if he'd played it just as General Jeff Bridges, a good-looking, charismatic guy, this would have been a great movie.
Yeah, and the one thing that got me watching this again, because I've seen Spolus, I think that's how you pronounce it, the original, and it's amazing, like just brilliant. It makes this film look like a remake.
Mm.
And it's actually written and directed by the director who had done the original. And the thing that upset me most is the fact that from the get go, you don't like Kiefer Sutherland. He's unlikable in
Yeah.
this entire film. He has an argument with Sandra Bullock in a tunnel, and the car runs out of petrol, and it's like she's going, "I told you to get petrol," and he's like, basically, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah, he's
and
kind of a jerk.
Yeah, and he leaves her in the actual car in the tunnel, and goes to get a jerry can and get some petrol and gas, and then he comes back and she's saying, "Oh, don't leave me again," and all that kind of stuff. It's like she was the bad guy in this scenario, and it's like, wow, that's like gaslighting 101.
Yeah, I guess they were trying to establish that they were arguing before she disappeared, so that could possibly be a reason why she disappeared, that she left him. And, he doesn't get an answer for 5 years, so maybe he's thinking that's what happened. Maybe she left him. But
it just comes off as like he's a jerk.
And that character stays throughout the entire movie. He doesn't change from being a jerk. Like even when he meets Nancy Travis and they
get it into a relationship 5 years later. Yeah,
she's incredibly supportive of him.
Too supportive.
Yeah, she puts up with things that you just would not put up with after several years. And he continues to be an asshole.
He lies to her to her face. Creates a fake
for no good reason.
Fake. He's going into the what's it called, the reserves, army reserves.
Yeah,
and on weekends, and so instead of
he's actually been going to a hotel room to investigate the disappearance of his former girlfriend, and there was no need to lie because
she was supportive of that.
She is. She establishes very early on that she understands he had a traumatic thing that happened, and that he got no closure on that, and that he's still not over it, and is still looking for her, and she supports that every step of the way. So there's no reason to lie. It's really weird.
It must be a European thing,
maybe,
because it doesn't make any sense to us.
Yeah.
So it's like when you watch a Japanese horror film.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
could be that lost in translation thing.
Yeah, but what would you give this out of 10?
I think I'd give it a 5. Actually, I could not get over the characterization of Barney. He was just too silly.
Yeah. It was very silly.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 6.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge Kiefer Sutherland fan.
Yeah.
And he did a great role. However, he was just unlikable the whole film. But he played a really unlikable guy very well.
Yeah, that's true. Third movie sticks with the kidnapping on the roadside theme. We have 1997's Breakdown.
Yes, starring the man, the myth,
Kurt Russell.
Yes, he's my favorite actor. So when we watched this, when it came up to watch this, I was like, yes, we will watch this film.
Yes, I've been wanting to watch this movie again for ages.
Mm-hmm.
And also stars Kathleen Quinlan as his wife, and J.T. Walsh
as the primary antagonist.
Yes, there's a few in this movie.
Yeah, there is, and the guy Jack Noseworthy, who always used to get confused with John Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
I don't know why, because he probably can't sing. Neither can John anymore. Anyway, so this is about a couple that break down their brand new, very expensive car in the middle of nowhere, and so after getting some fuel, so these petrol stations are bad places to go. And the car breaks down. They see a truck on they do get sort of taunted by rednecks.
Yeah.
Who pulls out, and he's he has an altercation with them at the petrol station, and but they sort of follow them as they go down the road. So they've conked out. The car's dead, and he flags down a truck. And who's driving this truck is J.T. Walsh.
Yeah, and he seems to be a very nice, helpful guy.
Yeah, And so he like they come up to the conclusion that okay, well the wife will go with him to the closest town. She'll ring for the RAC, AAA,
AAA, yeah.
or RAC, whatever it's
Yeah.
called, and send someone to start the car. So he's says, "Yep, I'll stay with the car." And round about 2 or 3 hours later, he's like, "She should have been back by now."
Yeah. This is 1997, so this is before smartphones and things like that. So
He does have a cell phone,
yeah.
as they call it, a cell
Yeah,
phone,
but-
it's like a brick.
Yeah.
And he's got no reception as well. So
Yeah.
so he actually looks underneath the car and sees that there's some wires. It looks like they've been pulled.
Mm.
And so he plugs it all back in and the car immediately starts.
Yeah. At this point, he's worried a little because she's been gone a long time, but he figures she's probably gone to the diner in the next town where she said she was going to go, and maybe she's waiting for him there.
Yeah.
So he heads to that diner and goes inside and starts asking around, have you seen this woman? And realizes
Have you seen this boy?
realizes pretty quickly that she has not been there
At all.
at all. And so he's starting to get worried now, and he runs into JT Walsh again.
Yeah, he sees the truck and he follows the truck.
Yeah, and he's relieved because he thinks, oh, there's the guy. So he's like, oh, hello, where's my wife? What happened? And
He has the best line. He says, "I've never seen you before in my life."
yeah, and he plays it perfectly. It's so chilling.
It's masterful.
Yeah.
I was like, because when you watch these movies, you put yourself into the scenario of the lead character, and it being Kurt Russell, of course, I do every time. And I was thinking, it would pop my brain.
Yeah, and you can see his heart drop the moment this guy pretends not to know who he is, and he does what you would expect. What are you talking about?
And he gets.
I know you. What have you done with my wife? And it gets very heated, and the rest of the movie is about him trying to figure out where they took his wife and what they plan on doing with her.
Yes, and we won't say anything more because you have to see this. This is a great thriller.
Yeah.
To me, it borders on the horror because there's nothing more horrific than losing the one you love, and it's like, especially in the circumstances where you think, well, am I going to get answers? It's like it's the film that The Vanishing wanted to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like this is done. Jonathan Mostow is the writer and director, and he's just he was, I think, unfairly kicked out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if anything else went on behind the scenes, but he really hasn't had that much of a career after this, and I think Terminator: Rise of the Machines,
Right.
Terminator 3, which yeah, okay,
Mm.
maybe a faux pas, but yeah, he I thought he just directed the hell out of this. It's a beautiful film, and it's just nail biting the whole film.
Yeah, and what he got correct that The Vanishing didn't get correct is that your antagonist should be a charismatic person, an everyman, someone that you know,
Good old boy.
Could believe that you'd be friends with. And this character has a wife and child as well. But you believe that he would have a wife and child and that he's able to trick them because of the way he acts.
Or does he? Kiefer Sutherland's one of my favourite actors. He isn't Kurt Russell. Who Kurt Russell, like, you empathise from the get-go. I mean, he like, they talk on the side of the road when the cars broke down, they talk about their money troubles and all that kind of stuff, and they're just starting over. Yeah. And it's like, they're so relatable. Yeah. And
we actually root for these characters. Yeah. They're nice people, unlike
the previous ones.
Yeah.
And the film just ratchets up the tension to extraordinary levels, and there's a lot of Jewel in there
very
as well.
Much so.
I mean, we got to say, Spielberg.
Yeah.
He's influenced every film. Maybe not the next one we'll talk about.
No,
but actually he does.
But these last three movies, certainly we've turned trucks into bad guys, and we've pretty much got Jewel.
Yeah. And
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
What would we give this movie out of 10?
I'll give this 8.5.
Yeah, I'd probably give it an 8.5 as well. This has definitely stood the test of time. It's a very enjoyable film.
Very.
Yeah.
And we just got the new Paramount Scares box set, and it was on 4K
Yeah.
in there. And the Hitcher we also watched in 4K as well.
Yeah.
So these are the best versions of these films that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it just makes you enjoy them more.
Yeah.
I think anyway.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen Breakdown since VHS days, and I was just like, wow, this is such an epic looking movie. You can tell when they're shot on film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let that be a lesson to people like creating characters. You need to make them relatable, even the bad guys. Otherwise, it's just doesn't quite pack the same punch.
And have some colour in your film, for God's sake.
Yeah. So our final film for this evening deviates from our road trip kidnapping theme. We're going to the classics for this one with the original Carrie.
1976, Brian De Palma, story written by Stephen King, books written by Stephen King, adapted by Larry Cohen, who did several Stephen King adaptations, including Salem's Lot in 79. And it is starring Sissy Spacek, Amy Irving,
Nancy Allen,
William Catt, John Travolta,
and Piper Laurie.
Yeah. Just to name a few.
Yeah.
Man, this is just a perfect Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah, and it is a perfect De Palma film as well. We both love Brian De Palma films, but I'll be the first to admit that I've always found most of his films to have a few pacing issues. Not so much with Carrie. Carrie is just cracking from start to finish. It doesn't let up, and it is a gorgeous movie and a harrowing movie.
I just feel so bad for her. I mean, being a guy, I watched this way too young on VHS back in the day, and not knowing that girls went through that cycle. When I watched it as a kid, I was thinking, oh my God, she's dying. And then she thinks she's dying in the film, and I'm going, oh, it terrorized me. But then, it's about a girl who gets is a late bloomer. So she gets her first menstrual cycle when she's 18. And this sort of unlocks psychic powers within her. And she's got a very domineering religious mother played by Piper Laurie.
Extremely religious mother.
And her name's Carrie White, the girl. And so she's the outcast in school. She is literally the loner, the kid that gets picked on the most. There's a scene where in the interior of the gym is written "Carrie White eats shit," and it's like, wow, it's everywhere. Yeah. Everyone hates this girl. And at the beginning, when she gets a period, she goes to the other girls like with blood on her hands, saying, help me, and they throw tampons and pads at her and say, plug it up, and it's a traumatizing.
It's not till the gym teacher comes in and chastises them that one of the girls, and only one of them, played by Amy Irving, sort of thinks, oh yeah, maybe we've done the wrong thing by picking on this girl, and it starts to play on her name is Sue. And she decides maybe we need to do something to help Carrie, because she's clearly had a tough life. And she asks her boyfriend Tommy if he would ask Carrie to the senior prom, and Tommy's reluctant to do so, but he loves Sue, so he agrees to it.
Well, I mean, she does give him the silent treatment.
Yeah. And it's tragic because what we learn as the movie unfolds is that most of the school in the end is rooting for Carrie White. Sue is genuine in what she does with setting her up with Tommy. Tommy treats her really well.
Like real gentleman.
At the prom. He's really supportive of her and understanding of her shyness. And even when, we get the classic covered in blood scene.
We don't care about spoilers on this one. It was made in 1976.
Everyone knows what happens.
You have to have seen
movie.
this film.
But in Carrie's mind, everyone is laughing at her.
Because her mum says they're all going to laugh at you.
But in reality, it's actually only one girl who was part of this plot to, embarrass Carrie that is laughing. The rest of the students
They feel sorry for her.
Just as horrified. And in fact, if you read the book, the group, I think it only comprises of four people.
Billy Nolan, what's her name? Chris McNeil.
Yeah.
No, not Chris. That's the woman out of The Exorcist. Chris, PJ Soul's character, and another dude.
Yeah. But they conspire to ensure that Carrie is going to win. What do they call it?
Prom queen.
Prom queen.
And because what they've done, they've set up a bucket above the stage full of pig's blood. Now, this is actually pretty hardcore nowadays. Actually, you do see them go to the slaughterhouse, the farm, and you see Billy, played by John Travolta,
killing a pig
with a sledgehammer. You don't see it actually hit the pig or anything, but you
can hear it.
You can hear it, and it's just like, that wouldn't happen nowadays.
No.
But so they set this bucket of blood up above the stage, and they switch out the votes. And the votes, they switch them out to all have Carrie White and Tommy Ross winning prom queen, queen and king.
Yeah. The thing of it is, if you read the book, they were going to win anyway. That's how supportive the rest of the students ended up being of Carrie. They actually, most of them voted for her and Tommy to win prom king and queen, so they didn't actually need to swap out the votes to get her up there on the stage.
Tommy's best friend and his girlfriend just embrace Carrie and just include her in the night as well. So you actually can see that not everyone's a piece of shit. In Bates High School. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Carrie has been so traumatized by the ignorance of her upbringing, her mother, and the trauma of what happened at the beginning of the film.
Extreme religion.
That when this bucket of blood lands on her, she gets her revenge, and just about everyone doesn't survive, including the lovely gym teacher that's been supportive of her throughout the entire movie.
There's a couple of things in this film that traumatized me as a child. The first thing is the ending of the film with her mum. She's like in a Jesus pose sort of thing. And there is her mum locks her in a closet in the kitchen, just off the kitchen. It would be the pantry, I suppose. And there is a statue of Jesus in there, and has yellow glowing eyes.
White glowing eyes.
Or white glowing eyes. For whatever freaking reason, it's got glowing eyes.
He doesn't like glowing eyes.
I hate it more than anything. I can't watch the Kiss Creature, I Love It Loud music video because of the glowing eyes. It's just horrifying. And as a little child, I was about 6 or 7 when I saw this film, and I was so traumatized by this. I found Jesus scary growing up. I was always terrified of him on the cross. So, good on you, Stephen King and Brian De Palma, for traumatizing a generation of kids.
Yeah, and this movie definitely stands the test of time.
It's amazing. It's for a 76 film, which is 48 years old. I can do the math very quickly on that one. It is a very poignant film. I mean, bullying exists now. It's done through a phone or the internet, as opposed to like in your face as much. Yeah. And it's still probably more insidious now, but I would have preferred the bullies to come at me, which I had at school. Yeah. But man, this film is so finger on the pulse still. I mean, Stephen King was an English teacher, right? And he wrote this, and he threw the manuscript away. And his wife went, Sonny Jim, this is the best thing you've written. Yeah. And she got it literally out of the trash can, and told him, you got to finish this, and this has to be
with the amount of school shootings that still to this day occur in America every single year, this is
relevant.
in the movie, Carrie uses her psychic powers, but she could have just as easily had a semi-automatic weapon.
Yeah.
So it's the same principle. You pick on someone
too much, they're going to fight back.
Yeah.
They're either going to fold or fight back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carrie does not fold.
No.
The character, the character I feel worst for, most of all, apart from Carrie, is Tommy.
Yeah.
Because the poor guy, he's so shocked by the bucket of blood. He's like it's all in slow-mo, beautiful slow motion. And he's like, you can see him mouth, what the hell? Is this? And like, then the bucket falls, hits him on the head.
Knocks him
out completely. And the school teacher, the nice school teacher, and a few of his friends all are dragging him off the stage because Carrie, by this time, has killed the principal, the English teacher, and all that kind of stuff through electrocution and water.
She set fire to the
stage.
auditorium.
Yeah, and so they drag Tommy off to sort of save him. They don't save him.
No.
Because as Carrie exits, you see the entire gymnasium in flames.
Yeah. The only person who survives is Sue, only because she was lucky in that she attended the prom just to see how it would go with Tommy and Carrie. Nothing nefarious, just wanted to have a look-see. But the teacher saw her there and thought it was suspicious and grabs hold of her because she actually notices the other two underneath with holding the rope to the bucket. So Sue tries to stop them. The teacher doesn't notice they're under there, grabs Sue, kicks her out of the auditorium just before it all goes to hell.
And Billy and Chris actually get out of the auditorium as well. The door literally slams as they leave. And then it's this beautiful split diopter shots, split screen. Have you seen Phantom of the Paradise? Brian De Palma? Okay, he used some of these techniques in that, and he's the master of like parallel action. They shot it in different times, of course, but everything flows so well.
It was beautiful.
And Paul Hirsch is just a fantastic editor.
Yeah.
He really did. Although I did notice a continuity error last night.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's when PJ Souls and Edie McClurg are getting their nails and hair done. The next scene is PJ Souls in a hat with pigtails talking to Chris at the gym. And then scene
about their plan.
And then after that, you see her at the prom with her hair done.
Yeah.
She's still wearing a hat, but her hair's been done.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, hold on. It's been flipped.
Yeah. It must be some kind of flow issue. It's a little thing.
I just noticed it. First time I've ever noticed it.
So what are we giving Carrie out of 10?
10. It's always been a 10 for me, ever since I was a little kid.
Oh, I'd have to give it a 9, I think.
That's fair. But I'll give it a 10.
Yeah.
I just think it's a perfect adaptation. It's like there are 3 wholly Stephen King adaptations that are above normal ones.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'll guess all 3.
Probably not off the top of my head, no.
Carrie?
Yeah.
The Shining? Dr. Sleep?
Oh, of course, Dr. Sleep, yeah.
I think those 3, Christine is right underneath it. I think that's another one, but that story was gutted so much for the film that it is completely different from the book. But I think as adaptations go, I think those 3 films are head and shoulders above everything that's come out. It is also chapter 1 is in contention.
Yeah.
But chapter 2 exists.
Kind of ruined it.
Yeah.
But that's for another night.
Yes.
So those are our 4 movies for Hallowtober Volume 2. We kind of leaned more into the thriller horrors.
We're watching films that we want to watch as well. So it's sort of like they are very horror adjacent.
Yeah.
Like, Carrie is a horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not sure what we'll come up with for Volume 3, but stay tuned.
Another De Palma?
Who knows? We'll be back with more next week.
Yes, we will. So, from me, stay hydrated.
And remember, leggings are not pants.
Especially if you're at the prom.
Ew.
Good night.